How we doing today? It is a Tuesday evening. This is A to Z Sports Prime Time. I am your host, Sam Phelan. Here on a Tuesday, it is September 24th, and your Tennessee Titans are, wait for it, 0-3. 0-3 for the Tennessee Titans. So it's been an ugly start to the year. It has been disastrous in many ways. It started with the poor performance of Will Levis in Chicago. It transitioned into week 2 against the New York Jets, where Levis seemingly cannot get out of his way with the boneheaded turnovers. And that seemed to be the story, right? Take away the sloppy, unforced errors, and the Titans can win. What we saw on Sunday was a far cry from that. The Tennessee Titans get straight up embarrassed by the Green Bay Packers. Malik Willis comes into town, drops 30 points. Levis throws a pick 6. It was a game that they got outcoached and outplayed in just about every level, and quite frankly raised a lot of concerns for where the heck the Titans go moving forward and what exactly they do well. Because right now, as Brian Callahan said after the game on Sunday, the Titans are not good enough in any area. And as David Allen says, it really is a shame because there are a lot of winnable games. As weird as that might sound to say, there are a lot of winnable games left on the schedule for these Titans. But at 0-3, you are now going to Miami on Monday Night Football, kind of on your last breath, right? You're on life support at this point. And life support might be a little bit generous. And so I want to get into kind of the crux of the issue, try and really get into the issues the Titans have. I'm going to talk about what Brian Callahan has been saying in his press conferences. One way I think Brian Callahan is right, and I'm going to talk about one area that I think Brian Callahan is very, very off and very wrong. And I'll be a little bit critical of the Titans head coach in that area. We're then going to talk about the right tackle position. We'll listen to Callahan and the latest. And then I've got an idea that might be worth exploring for the Titans. Curious to get your guys' opinions on it. So it's going to be a good show today. The thing with 0-3, the thing with as upset and frustrated as we all are, is it makes for great conversation. And hopefully the conversations that I have with you on these Tuesdays start turning positive in the near future. Before we get into it, I want to ask all of you to share the show. Go ahead and leave a thumbs up on the show, but share it. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the share button in the bottom right corner. If you're watching on YouTube, take the YouTube link, send it to a friend, let them know that we're having a conversation. Let them know Survivor Sam is talking Titans and they need to be tuning in. So share the show before we go. Leave a like as we get into it here on a Tuesday evening. Without further ado, welcome in to A to Z Sports Prime Time. We are not in the Zen Sports Studios tonight, and I'm not your host, Buck Rising, but I am Sam Phelan with you on Tuesday nights from now throughout the end of the 2024 NFL season. And I am presented to you, as always, by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com for more information. Zen Sports is your place to bet. You can back the Titans in Week 4 on Monday Night Football using Zen Sports. Use the promo code ATOZTN in the Zen Sports app. And if you're in need of a new workout program, TrueMav Fitness is the place for you to go. No workouts ever recycled or repeated at TrueMav, so go to TrueMavFitness.com for more information. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into where I feel like Brian Callahan is right, because with all the noise, with all the chaos, with all the pressure the Titans are feeling internally right now, Brian Callahan remained committed to one thing after the Titans' loss on Sunday, and that is his starting quarterback being Will Levis.
How would you categorize that as being aggressive and trying to make a play, or a stupid mistake?
Oh, I think that was just normal. That was just a normal throw. I mean, we just threw a hitch route to the boundary, and Jair jumped it. And, if those things happen, and if you feel like the corner's that aggressive to it, you can move on. But that wasn't a stupid mistake at all. Actually, Will did some really good things in this game. I thought we just got to do more of it, and we got to do a better job protecting them.
So moving forward, you're still firmly put on him being your quarterback.
Oh yeah, there's nothing. I mean, we got to play better around him. Again, I'm not going to overreact to an interception. Those things happen. Guys throw picks. We just can't give it to their team. We keep giving up points the other way. It's killer. It's hard to overcome. We've not played a complete game in any phase at any point yet. We're capable of way better than what we put on the field the last 3 weeks, and no one's coming to save us. So we got to figure it out.
Nobody coming to save the Titans, but hopefully somebody coming to save or at least help out Will Levis. Brian Callahan said it there. The Titans need to play better around Levis, a game that didn't have one of those dumb, unforced errors. Now, there were errors from Levis. The pick six was a mistake, but you hear Callahan talk about it as something that just happens to a quarterback. Mistakes like that, a guy jumping a route, happens on occasion. That's not it. That's in a different bucket for me, for Callahan. I think it should be in a different bucket for many of you than what we saw from Levis in Chicago or against the Jets. But Callahan really didn't hesitate to say, oh, yeah, Will is still our quarterback. So it's going to be Will Levis on Monday Night Football. I've kind of expressed this in the past that I expect it to be Will Levis really for the entire season. Traditionally, we looked at it last week when I was on here with you guys on primetime, the leash that is on year two quarterbacks that were taken on day 2 of the NFL draft. And you usually get the entire second season to prove yourself, especially if you showed flashes in the back half of your rookie year. Do I think Levis earns the starting job beyond this season? I think a lot would need to go right for him at this point, because I think a lot of it's going to hinge on the Titans' record and therefore where they're picking in the NFL draft next year. I think that will have a large impact on it. So too early for me to say there, but without a doubt, I think the Titans remain committed to Will Levis at quarterback. So I can go ahead and jump into my first question of the evening. We've got 3 questions today instead of the traditional 2, but I want to get a sense of where you guys are coming from and ask you, agree or disagree with Brian Callahan? Is he right or wrong here with the Titans sticking with Will Levis at quarterback with the 0-3 start? Agree or disagree with Brian Callahan on sticking it out with Will Levis? I'll get to my answer right away. I don't need to beat around the bush. I don't have a message or one of my partners to tell you guys about. So I'll tell you, I think this is the right call. I think the Titans sticking with Will Levis, there's no other option for me at this point in time. I think Will Levis has looked better in all 3 of the Titans games thus far. That might be hard to believe and not exactly what you want to hear when they're sitting at 0-3, but I do believe he's looked better. And I can't emphasize enough, I think this offensive line matters more than we're even paying attention to. I know it's easy to be like, oh, the offensive line, 8 sacks, right? And 8 sacks is bad and inexcusable. But the run game is just as important. I actually have a video we can go ahead and play here. This is Titans offensive lineman Peter Skoronski talking about the offense after the game on Sunday, why the offense didn't work. He first and foremost goes to failure in the run game.
It's a good way to describe it. It's like a waterfall. It starts with our group not being efficient and not going 3 and out, giving them the ball back, giving them chances to score, and that starts with the run game and not being efficient there, and then getting behind the sticks and getting in those third and long, those pass down situations. And then when we get in those situations, we still got to block. You can't just say, oh, well, these situations suck. We deserve every bit of shit that's coming towards us, and there'll be a lot of it. And we're not going to point fingers around anywhere. It's this 5, and we've got to be better. And that's that. 8 sacks is never, ever, ever excusable in any sense of the word. So we're going to be better.
So 8 sacks, never, ever, ever excusable, says Peter Skoronski. Says they deserve everything coming at them. But, like he says in there, it starts with the run game. Titans running backs on Sunday, 8 carries for 21 yards. That's not going to get it done ever. And so before we can leap and judge Will Levis off of his performance through 3 weeks, I think we have to look and question the offensive line. Question the fact that he's under constant duress. Question the fact that they're not able to stay in front of the sticks and be efficient as an offense because of what they're doing up front. And so I think it would be foolish for the Titans to take out their struggles on their young quarterback, to hinder his development, to give up on this experiment when he has shown signs of development despite everything else around him going wrong. I think the improvement of DeAndre Hopkins from weeks 1 and 2 to week 3 are encouraging, potentially something Levis can rely on moving forward. And, with better protection, as we saw in the first drive of the game, the Titans could, emphasis on could, or have shown flashes of being a very good offense. So I asked you, do you agree or disagree with Brian Callahan sticking with Will Levis at quarterback with the 0-3 start? Tom disagrees. Brian agrees. So does Lewis. Amnesia. Brandon says agree for the next 2 games. So giving him through week 6 because of the bye week there for Brandon. Bork and Brock agree. Major Key says agree. They'll have top draft picks. Devin says agree. You have to know what you have to decide if you need another QB next year. I agree with this from Devin. And I don't think you know what you have. A lot of Titans fans would say right now, well, we know we need a quarterback. I don't know if I'm ready to say that yet. I think you still need to get more information about Will Levis in a better scenario and see him develop. DeAndre Hopkins pointed out after the game, this is a quarterback who still started, 12 games, 13 games in his career, not even a full season. So he, deserves more time. And Curtis says no one's going to come see Rudolph unless his nose shines bright. Look, it's not about ticket sales for me, but it is about purpose, about organizational direction. What purpose does Mason Rudolph solve for the Titans right now at quarterback? Does he make them a better football team? I don't know that he does. I really don't think that he does. But even if he did, and there was marginal improvement, and you won a few games with Mason Rudolph is not the difference between you making or missing the playoffs. And if Mason Rudolph is not taking you to the playoffs, all he's doing is giving you a worse draft pick. And that's to say, if he was an improvement upon Will Levis, which I think is a kind of a leap. I think in general with young quarterbacks, and it's part of the reason I was shocked the Carolina Panthers did what they did so soon in regards to benching Bryce Young in favor of Andy Dalton. If you don't have realistic playoff aspirations and playoff expectations for your team, why make a move? Why go to a veteran over the young guy you're trying to develop if you don't have a play? Like, this is a different story to me. If the Titans are sitting here at 4-2 or 5-4, and we're about halfway through the season and Levis is playing horribly, right? Then we have to look at what's best for our team now to win games, to get into a playoff game, to build the organizational culture of winning. But that's not where we're at. And it would be foolish for them to do anything other than play Will Levis. That is where Brian Callahan was right. Now it's time to go to where Brian Callahan is wrong, because Callie was asked in Monday's press conference, what is the one thing the Titans need to fix to win games? The number one thing. I've got a lot of issues with his answer.
And I'm sure there are a number of things you want to fix. What's the number one thing got to get done to start winning football games?
Not turn the ball over. That's clear as can be. I mean, we're last in the league in turnover margin. We're -7. And that doesn't count the block punts. So that's, to me, in my mind, that's -9 in 3 games. Of those 7 turnovers on offense, 14 points directly went back the other way. One of the punts directly went back the other way, so that's 21 points. I think we've lost 2 games by 7 points and 1 by 16, and there's your margin. That's a really, really hard thing to overcome, the volume and the frequency of them and how crushing they've been. Even that sack fumble, we're on the 30-yard line. It's a 2-score game. It's, even if we get a field goal there, or at least it's a 10-point game at the top of the 4th quarter, and it feels a little bit different. But then, we get sack fumbled and the ball gets turned over again. So, and then we haven't gotten a single turnover on defense through 3 games, which is, I've not seen that very often. They just can't get it to break our way right now. Can't get the ball out. Part of that's because in this game they were able to control it pretty well. But Yeah, if you want to look at one single thing right now that's getting in the way of us winning football games, that's turning the ball over. And most of the teams down there with us in the margins, if they're down at -7, 5, 4, 3, most of those guys are probably 1-2, 0-3, whatever that looks like. So the turnover statistics in the NFL are glaring. It's not a mystery. You're in a plus. You're well into the plus. You're usually a playoff team, and you're deep in the minuses. You're usually not very very good. And that's just the way it is. So,
all right. So I went and threw it in the chat. Do you agree or disagree that turnovers have been the Titans' biggest issue? Agree or disagree that turnovers have been the Titans' biggest issue? Brian Callahan says that's the number one thing they need to fix. I think he is wrong. And let me go into that a little bit, because I think on the surface, this is fine, right? And I already see some of you starting to agree. Tom agrees. Yanksty agrees. Like I said, David, Brandon, all of you guys agreeing with this idea that turnovers and -9 through 3 games is unacceptable. Like, let's make that clear. It is absolutely unacceptable and needs to be fixed. But the reason I have an issue with Brian Callahan's answer there is because this is sort of a cherry-picked answer. This is a feel-good, politically correct answer. God, it can't turn the ball over. But it's lazy, because there are so many things going into the fact that turnovers are an issue that we're ignoring by just slapping a label of turnovers on them. We're saying, can't turn the ball over, got to get more turnovers. But we've been saying that for 2 weeks. Like, let's not forget, going into the Packers game, going into the Jets game, the Titans defense was saying, we have to cause more turnovers. Have they done it? No. Because turnovers are not luck. Turnovers are not just spoken into existence. Turnovers are created. There's a reason that the statistic is turnovers created. Teams that allow the ball to be in harm's way, that throw the ball behind the sticks, that get behind the sticks into passing situations, that allow pressure on their quarterback to have to make dangerous passes or be hit. Those are teams that turn the ball over. Teams that protect the football well, protect their quarterback well, get the ball out quickly. Those are teams that don't turn the ball over. And so while the Titans have sat here and said, we need to create more turnovers and turn the ball over less, it is not it's not easily done, right? You can't just say we're going to stop that. It starts, as some of you have pointed out, with the offensive line. Bork said it. Devin said it. The O-line is the issue. To me, it is the number one thing that you can try to fix that will then, in turn, fix your turnover problem. Will Levis, boneheaded plays aside, turns the ball over less if the offense is more efficient running the ball well and gets less pressure on the quarterback. If he has a cleaner pocket, if he's throwing without duress, I don't think he turns the ball over as much. And I think that's proven through what we've seen. Right? Will Levis has some turnovers. 2 of his interceptions are like desperation late in the game, throw it deep interceptions. I don't care about those as much. One of them should have been caught by Treylon Burks. He threw the pick 6, which was a bad play, but a lot of these turnovers are strip sacks, right? Caused by pressure on the quarterback. The fact that you haven't gotten defensive turnovers has a lot to do with the fact that your defensive line hasn't really gotten home, right? Jeffrey Simmons just recorded his first sack, and it was sort of like a chase down sack as the quarterback scrambled forward. I think Malik Willis slid for no gain, and Jeffrey Simmons got credited with a sack. But Arden Key, as he hit the quarterback, Harold Landry's hit the quarterback, once, maybe twice? But you haven't gotten a ton of pressure. You haven't tackled very well. So we keep hearing, punch at the football, try and rake the ball out when you get home to the QB. But the defense isn't making the plays necessary to create those turnovers. And until you fix the O-line problem, I don't want to hear about snap my fingers, let's make the turnovers go away. That's not how it works. That is my issue with Brian Callahan's response here. It's my problem with what the Titans defense has been standing up there saying, we got to create more turnovers. And I keep asking, how? Tell me more. Don't just say we need to snap our fingers and create more turnovers. Jeffrey Simmons looked at me in the locker room one day. I said, Jeff, what about these turnovers? Tell me more. He goes, well, I don't understand. We get turnovers all the time in practice. Yeah, Jeff, I wonder why. Maybe it's because you got Harold Landry rushing against Nicholas Petit-Frere and Will Levis throwing the ball with L'Jarius Sneed in coverage. And then, yeah, you're going to get more turnovers than you will against Aaron Rodgers and against an offense that is coached by Matt LaFleur. That's generally how it works. Your offense is sloppy, so you're going to create turnovers. How can you create turnovers in the game? I think Brian Callahan, it's a bad answer. It's a lazy answer, to be honest, to excuse a lot of problems that the Titans have. I think that is a place that he went wrong. Let's talk a little bit more about that offensive line. We're going to talk about right tackle. We're going to talk about that guy, Nicholas Petit-Frere, hear from Brian Callahan about exactly who the starter is, what the situation is, and kind of go over all of that. Before we do it, want to tell you all about my friends over at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford is where you can go for your Ford Broncos because you see them all over the road, and they're all different. Soft tops, hard tops, Big Bends, heritage style with white tops, black diamonds, Raptors, and even smaller Bronco Sports. This is an open invite from Two Rivers Ford team inviting you to get to know the Ford Bronco. You don't even need to be in the market for a vehicle. They have a team of experts on Broncos that are on hand to introduce you to the car, answer your questions, let you test drive, even show you some off-road capabilities that the car has. And remember, this Two Rivers Ford team doesn't work on commission. They're just there to educate you and answer your questions. It's one of the many reasons people love doing business with Two Rivers Ford, and that's why they're the South's most trusted Ford dealer. You go see my friends at Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, just 7 miles east of the airport, and get to know the Ford Bronco. Two Rivers Ford is your Ford Bronco headquarters. All right, let's get into the right tackle problems, the right tackle issues. Brian Callahan says currently in open competition, we saw Nicholas Petit-Frere benched in the game against the Green Bay Packers. That doesn't mean it's a permanent issue.
To be in maybe a competition at right tackle, or you need Nick to settle in and play better and still going to trust in him?
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll let those guys play it out. I think that really at the core of the game yesterday, Nick played well enough, but his 3 real bad plays were real bad plays. And that's sort of what the issue is it's the consistency. And we'll see. I'm not going to make any commentary on that until we get through a week of practice and see where everybody's at. But, after that sack fumble, it was just we needed to make a change in the moment in the game. And I'm not going to say that it's a permanent one or anything like that. But, we just needed something different at that point.
Thought there was an interesting answer from Callahan as well when talking about the offensive line. And if he was surprised that the lack, I guess, of impact you felt from his father, Bill Callahan, up to this point, Brian Callahan says he actually has good reviews over the left side of the offensive line. He was complimentary of J.C. Latham, Peter Skoronski, and Lloyd Cushenberry, but throws a little bit of shade at that right tackle spot and maybe some of the guys on the right side.
No, I mean, I think we're capable of playing better. I think that JC's really played pretty well. That part's been encouraging. I'm excited about JC. I think Pete's played pretty good. And I think that Lloyd's done a nice job. And, that it's really our right side's had struggles really the last 2 weeks, and we got to find a way to help that and fix that. But there is good things happening and encouraging things happening. We just got to have it collectively offensively happen more. And
so the right side has had issues the last 2 weeks. Titans looking for a way to help that and fix that. Nicholas Petit-Frere, like I mentioned earlier, benched in the third quarter of the game against the Packers after allowing a strip sack of Will Levis. It was an ugly rep. I've seen all the memes and videos making fun of NPF for kind of being still in a 3-point stance as his guy drills his quarterback. Ugly, horrendous, horrific, benched him appropriately so. NPF owned it, said he's going through the worst stretch of his entire football career right now and does not know what's going on. But it does bring up the question, with an open job, who should the Titans starting right tackle be moving forward? Who should the Titans starting right tackle be moving forward? You guys answer that while I tell you about Gary Ashton, the official realtor of the Nashville Predators. Don't sell without the intel, and get your dream address without the stress. Gary has all of the intel that you need to succeed. He's the official realtor of the Nashville Predators. Visit him at GaryAshton.com. As you guys flood the chat with your answer for who should be the Titans starting right tackle moving forward. And we have a surprise answer off the rip with Derek saying, Ojukwu Mania, John Ojukwu. Didn't realize I'd be hearing his name called for a starter so early. I hear Nicholas Petit-Frere from Major Keys. It's funny that we're asking for Nicholas Petit-Frere. Brian Callahan does make a good point, which is NPF has been like okay until the disaster plays, but the disaster plays have led to huge sacks and turnovers, and you just cannot have that. The craziest part of all of this, Jalen Duncan was worse. Jalen Duncan comes in for NPF in the third quarter of that game and is somehow a worse performing right tackle. It's like, oh, this can't get any worse. Get somewhere else in there. And Jalen Duncan said, hold my beer. Yes, it can. Quickly showed why NPF was the starting right tackle in the first place. EVC says Chris Hubbard, who is not on the team. He's with the 49ers on the practice squad, a former Titan. I honestly don't hate that at this point. Chris Hubbard played good football for the Titans last year when he was in that spot. Matt wants to get signed to play right tackle, which might even be, worthwhile. Gene says move Dylan Radins to right tackle and Brunskill at guard. I don't know how I feel about that. Dylan Radins hasn't even been all that special as a right guard, but he's more of a natural guard than he is a tackle. We kind of talked all offseason about don't disrupt Dylan Radins' piece. Dylan Radins finally was able to focus on one position in the offseason, and moving him around is no good for him. So I would probably disagree with the idea of putting Dylan Radins at right tackle. I think that's not a great idea. Curtis wants to see Leroy Watson, who's hanging around on the practice squad. We got another Chris Hubbard mention saying to sign him off of the 49ers practice squad. Caleb says, sadly, it's NPF. Clayton says a starter isn't on the team, which is very well the case, right? Maybe Chris Hubbard or anybody else could be something that the Titans address over the bye week. And Amar agrees as well. He's not on the roster right now. Let me give you a suggestion for somebody that is on the roster. How do we feel about Daniel Brunskill as your right tackle? Daniel Brunskill was kind of viewed as your backup, versatile, interior offensive lineman, but he does have experience at tackle. Daniel Brunskill played over 300 snaps at right tackle back in 2019. I know that was a long time ago, but he has hung around the league for 5-6 years now because of his versatility. I don't know if hopefully that didn't mess up my mic too bad. Bert, we good? All right. His versatility has kept him around in the league. I don't know if he can be dominant, but I trust Daniel Brunskill more not to make the big mistake than I do NPF or Jalen Duncan at this point. Gene says can't be much worse than NPF. Bork says, why not? Curtis says it can't hurt. He's solid. Might as well try him there. I thought he was solid at right guard last year. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. I don't hate that idea. I just think, we've seen NPF suck and put your quarterback at risk. We've seen Jalen Duncan suck and put your quarterback at risk. John Ojukwu was a rough watch during training camp. So maybe you want to try that again. I don't know. But maybe this is exactly why you have a guy like Daniel Brunskill on the bench, is so that you can move pieces around if you need to, hit the emergency button, say, stop the bleeding, somebody block their guy. Curtis says he don't think he's a run blocker, but does he have to be a run blocker? Like, that'd be great, right? Obviously, you want your right tackle to be able to do some run blocking and pass blocking, but right now, can we just get a guy that doesn't get your quarterback killed? Can we throw somebody there that doesn't allow 8 pressures in a game? Because that's what we've been getting at right tackle. So that would be an idea that I would explore if I was the Titans is Daniel Brunskill to right tackle, find a way to get NPF out of there, because I think NPF is physically capable. It's up here with him. I've talked to him in the locker room each of the last 2 weeks. He is not the same guy that I talked to during training camp. Nicholas Petit-Frere came off as confident, loose, himself, felt comfortable during training camp. And the guy that we have seen over the last 2-3 weeks now has looked like a guy that is seeing ghosts, legitimately seeing ghosts. I started my question with Nicholas Petit-Frere after the loss on Sunday with, how do you explain what's been going on? And he kind of just said, I don't know. I do not know what the problem is, but he obviously has a problem. He's a little bit broken. He needs to go back to the drawing board, maybe work on with like a sports psychologist or something, figure out, how to avoid these lapses that result into big killer negative plays for the Titans. All right, we're going to move it on to Gone Viral. I got 2 things for Gone Viral today. One, very unfortunate, and then we're going to end it with like a little bit of a feel good. I'm going to make you guys feel better about yourselves. Before we do it, going to tell you about my friends over at True Mav Fitness in the Gulch. True Mav Fitness, TrueMavFitness.com for your first workout free. As a Middle Tennessee resident, no workouts ever recycled or repeated. They've got personal training, group fitness classes, and membership also gives you access to the open gym at True Mav Fitness in the Gulch. All right, Bert, I got a question for you, buddy.
What can I do for you?
Actually, wait. Now, Roger, that I messed that up because we're ending with my question for you, because the question is the feel good part. We're going to start with the not feel good stuff. So this is the not feel good stuff. And
yeah, that's tough.
I hate to be the guy that's all, hey, look at Will Levis again, but it is kind of inconceivable at this point that we are 3 weeks into the season with 3 viral photographs of the Titans quarterback having hilarious gaffes. First, it's the surrender cobra, mid-pick 6 against the Bears that lost them the game in week 1. Then it was this crazy scorpion mid-air airplane fumble against the Jets in week 2. And he's straight up getting teabagged in that third photo. I mean, that is crotch to helmet shoved into the turf. An ugly scene. And what's funny is the entire NFL world is like on alert for the next Will Levis gaffe, like the next Will Levis problem. They're waiting for it to happen, and every week it's been like, sir, another Will Levis photograph has hit the timeline.
What I'm worried about is that he is going to have enough meme-worthy pictures that we are going to be able to have a Will Levis calendar of memes every month.
Wow. So that's not a bad call. We're getting there.
And maybe we Photoshop him out of the Titan Stadium and into different situations based off that month. So
yeah, let's see. I mean, what we've got, like, what do we have here? This is
the Surrender Cobra. He could be doing yoga somewhere on a beach for like June or July.
Yeah, that's like a July one.
He could be sledding in the second photo where he's diving, or perhaps serving someone. I just want to put a silver tray in his hand.
I was thinking there's a tray there somewhere as well.
He's bringing mojitos to his friends or something.
The last one to me looks like me after Thanksgiving dinner, just in like a straight coma. So maybe it's a November contender. It's also that feeling when the holidays end and now it's just cold for no reason in January and February. So we've got a couple different contenders here for Will Levis calendar.
The good thing is I feel like we're going to get more options. I feel like
is that a good thing? I don't know if that's
it's not a good thing, but there are 14 more weeks and we already have 3 months figured out. You know what I mean?
Do we have any photos from last year? Because I don't remember a quarterback this is a unique thing to Will Levis that he's just becoming the memeable photograph quarterback guy, that there's always going to be something. And now, right? I bet you a play like this third one happens to a quarterback just about every week, but we're not looking for it when it's, I just clicked on the wrong thing. We're not looking for it when it's Geno Smith over with the Seahawks. We're only like the NFL world is waiting for the Will Levis screenshot.
See, the problem with that one is his ankles are off the ground. If he was flat and just getting hit, it's like his legs being off the ground somehow make that photo so much worse. But
oh yeah, I mean, the way his body is just oddly positioned at all times during these unfortunate moments is untimely, unfortunate, and unfortunately for Titans fans, very, very viral. If that made you upset, I have one question for you, Bert.
Let's hear it.
Do you know who Moo Dang is?
That's the baby hippo that's taking the internet.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, meet Moo Dang, who is the #1 star on Twitter right now. My entire feed is just this baby hippo existing in all of the strangest places. Jurassic World, Windows, Fox TV, Buffalo Wild Wings, Pittsburgh Penguins. Enjoy the Moo Dang content. We need to. Here's another side project. Can we insert Moo Dang into one of these photos?
Oh, man. That's homework for next week. I got you, though. I totally got you.
Make Moo Dang the ball that Will Levis is throwing away to the other team, and it's just this little baby hippo right here. That I have been enjoying all of the memes, and it seems like basically my entire timeline is Moo Dang, which is making me feel good because football has been very frustrating with the 0-3 Titans and Northern Illinois no longer ranked after an unfortunate overtime loss to Buffalo. It's been a tough go for me the last few days, but yeah, I have if you're not on Moo Dang Twitter, get on Moo Dang Twitter.
Have you seen the newest Moo Dang Survivor meme?
I saw Moo Dang wearing one of these guys.
One of the buffs.
One
dude.
of the buffs. Yeah. That was well done. I was like, damn, Moo Dang is a supporter. I love it.
He's in there. On bated breath, man. You had me compelled last week. Let's say that.
All right, there we go. Hey, tomorrow we got episode 2 tomorrow. So, all right. I think that's all I got. I had to end it on a high note with Moo Dang. So, appreciate you guys tuning in. Buck Rising will be back tomorrow. I will be back on the A to Z Sports Morning Show on Thursday. I have to do this math in my head. Thursday morning, I'll be back alongside Austin Stanley. Austin Stanley will be on with Easton Freeze tomorrow morning. As Bert, would you like to select a closing time going home video for the folks? We'll see you later.